Hi, I'm Ann Rossley with Baird and Warner, and I'm bringing you this month's Chicago housing market update. Today is December 5th, and so I'm bringing to you information on real estate in downtown Chicago through November of 2022. First of all, before we get into what's happening locally, let's look at the mortgage market. Freddie Mac's average interest rates nationally for 30-year fixed are at 6.5%, with 15-year fixed rates at 5.75% on average. Consumer confidence dropped in November a little bit from October. Concerns about rising inflation and gas prices being the main reasons why. But let's look at what's happening in downtown Chicago. As you know, our primary market in downtown Chicago are the lakefront communities, including those just west, which means Bucktown, Wicker Park, Logan Square, and Avondale. Year to date, single family homes, we are down 12.8% in volume with 1.8 billion closings so far this year. That's down versus last year's record year of $2 billion, which was up 54% versus 2020. Attached includes condos, co-ops, and townhomes. $6.5 billion worth of real estate is closed so far this year, which is 13.2% below 2021 levels of $7.5 billion. Again, a record year. Median sales price for condos, co-ops, and townhouses, $417,500. That number is up 1.6% versus November of 2021. And the number of units for sale has dropped. It's now 2810. That's down 26.6% versus previous year. And I asked myself, what does that look like when I look at more than just the crazy last 3 years? Here's what it looks like. While we are not the lowest in terms of inventory right now, it is certainly close to the bottom. Very little inventory is on the market. If you look at the number of properties under contract that are attached, 475, you'll see that it's down 46.3% versus 2021, which is a record for the last 10 years. Units closed, 579 in November. That was down 42.3%. And given the number that was under contract, I expect will be below again in December. So if you look at the number of properties that are attached that closed year to date, not the volume, but the number of properties, were down 14.4% at 12,640. Again, versus the record year of 14,759 of 2021. But still down a little bit from the previous year. Single family homes, median sales price, $1,275,000. That's up 8.5% versus previous year's November. Single family homes for sale. Currently, there are 237 homes for sale in the lakefront community area. That's down 10.6% versus previous year. In terms of the number of homes under contract in November, 43 is down 52.2% versus previous year. And if you look at the blue line, you'll see that is a record low. Number of homes closed, 61. Not a low, but it's down 48.7% versus previous year. In terms of the number of properties closed, single family, 1,213 year to date. That's down 20.5% versus previous year, which was a high. 1,525 was up 40.6% versus 2020. Number of showings per listing. There were on average 3 showings per single family home on the market during the month of November. That's down 31.8% versus previous year. And our high was 7.3 showings per listing in February of this year. So we are more than half of the number of showings below what we were before. I wanted to give you a quick look at the showing time index. Now, this is only through October, but I just mentioned how strong February was, and I wanted you to see that it's not just located in downtown Chicago. In February and March, we had a showing index of 236 and 268. It's kind of a weird number. It goes back to January of 2014 as the baseline of 100. But nonetheless, versus January of 2014, in February, March, we had 2.5 times basically the activity that was occurring in 2014. But we have slipped. and these showings, they're really more of the current statistic for how the market is, the number of buyers that are out there looking, how many properties they're going into, the interest in buying a home. Really, this is the most salient statistic to look at. And so whereas we were at 236 and 268 before, the current number, October 2022, for the Chicago area is 115. For Midwest, it's 129. In the United States, 137, propped up a little bit by interest in the South as people still are looking for their second homes and resort properties. So showings are down. This is all reflective of what's going on in the market. We are hoping for a good spring market. A lot of properties are on the private network right now, just kind of waiting so people get more used to the current interest rate environment, are ready for a spring market, and we'll see how it goes. But I think we're going to have a good, more normal spring market. So if you have any questions about what's going on with your property, your properties, anything about your neighborhood, please reach out to me. I'm Ann Rossley with Baird & Warner. Let's connect.